this episode, we get rims and tires on, we get the motor actually installed with motor mounts that we're going to custom make, and oh, we had to redo and put a rear sump and different oil pan on the 440 because of clearance issues. Stick around. I'm really hoping my other card didn't just corrupt, because it just said all of a sudden it can't recognize the card. So if it did, I got the bell housing on. It fought me. Don't worry. This here this here transmission's gonna just slide right in. No, it's heavy. I really should have a transmission jack, or at least the motor up higher, but man, an engine crane would, or like an engine hoist would do great too. Alright, hold on. Two hours later, that's what it took me. I had to unload a Connex, dig this thing out the very back, fuel drums, everything's getting moved. Alright. Oh, I hope there's a chain on this. There it is, okay. Alright, let's figure this out. Yeah. Nope, come on. Stay. Gotta get plenty of time to get that fluid to drain back down for the press.
Did you lose out there on the ground?
Well, I didn't know it was leaking like a artery over
They
there.
all have fucking breather holes. I mean, all cylinders have breather holes. So.
By the way, I ordered the oil pan, dipstick, gaskets, and oil pump. But they'll work to at least get bolted out.
Yeah. Well, that helps with the alignment for sure. Thank you. That's too much. Whatever. Let's see where we're at. Alright. Looks like those motor mount both holes, our training mount both line right up. Some of them will sweep up. Because I give you at least another
2x4?
2x4 or 4x4.
Alright, this is post spray. Probably could have got above on the top of the transmission a bit more, but it's kind of hard to always tell what's engine gunk and what has just been paint that came off. But this thing is night and day difference for what I'm going to be trying to use it for. Big thing was like this oil pan was completely covered. So it came out well. Pretty impressed. famous last words. Ah, that's crazy. Got one. They pull this way.
Not there. So you got some wires catching.
Good. Good. Oh. Fine. Jeez. All right, let's get the oil drain.
Our plans fucking last weekend didn't pan out. Go to fucking junkyard. I got all fucked up.
We can still go.
Not this weekend.
I'm not saying there was a little bit of water in that initial one, but there was a little bit of water in that.
Might have been.
I know there was. Look at the.
Yeah. Where'd the water come from?
I don't know, maybe up from us.
Taste it.
Open valve, maybe, I'm guessing, when we were washing.
Taste it. Is it sweet?
Nope. I didn't do that. Good.
Trying to pull metal shavings out?
We're good.
Better be able to eat it.
A little dinosaur juice.
Dinosaur honey.
2 brontosaurus. It's 2 brontosaurus.
Yeah, yeah. On the list?
Initial design. Final design. Initial design. Final design. Alright. Clear all this stuff off here. Alright, now that we're waiting for the now that we're waiting for the oil to finish draining, let's make a better list here, huh? What do I need to be able to get this thing moving here? Alright, let's go through the list here quick, huh? Power steering rack, brake booster, rims, tires, fuel tank, 4-link, window seals, hydraulic clutch, or internal slave cylinder, however we're going to run this thing. Clutch in general. Let's add that. Seat belts and seats, which I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Sure grip, I bought it. It's over there. I haven't installed it. Fuel line, so I got to buy that. Drive shaft, got to have that made. But I can't do that until I get that mounted. Gauges, clutch, exhaust. Technically, mine's already made. It needs to be modified because it was for where the original motor was sitting. What else do I got? Intake, if I want to do that. New intake. Steering column issues. And steering linkage, because I have to be able to adapt it to the power steering rack for the Mustang II. Battery box and battery. Oh, air compressor kit. That one's gonna be expensive. I think that's all we got right now. All right, let's get back to the motor so I can stop crying about this. So, no matter what, I gotta switch over. Whether or not I decide to run the Stealth 440 heads, I still am gonna change over to the high pressure oil pump. Now some people may say, hey, don't do that. You're going to overpressure your system. These are already high pressure enough, blah, blah, blah. And you know what, I'll admit, it was. You know, I was running at about 70 pounds. But here's the thing. If I'm going to be getting this thing and kind of testing this thing a little bit, the one thing I don't want to do is run out of oil pressure. I can deal with having to replace some gaskets or figuring out how to get some seals done. But what I don't want to do is run out of oil pressure, because then I have a lot more issues. I'm not going to open this directly over the motor. That's also a good idea not to do. So, well, I don't understand. Is the box supposed to rip apart? All right, I guess it is. So, at a minimum, I'm going to switch over to a high pump. Now, to be honest, this other one may have been a high flow style. I don't know, maybe not. So the casting number on this one is 618, and on this one, 617, so you can tell me. I don't know. But all this needs to come off. I can then put this on. I have a gasket over there for it. And yeah. Again, I'm just going to work on what I can until I decide what I'm going to do with the heads. So let's get that off and this on. Alright, quick update. Rear sump with the Medallion 3600, correction, 32006. Windage tray doesn't work. At least not on the stock pan. Maybe if I had a fancy one. But because I have to worry about clearance issues on this thing for how low it sits, I'm gonna have to make some clearance here. So I'm gonna modify this. Not the pan fits fine. The windage tray. That windage tray has plenty of room in between the crank and everything else and this. But man, it's just, yep, so I'm gonna have to cut that out. Step-up concept where, yeah, there's a gap here. Could I probably close that up? Maybe, if I went through and spent the time. But honestly, it's gonna work, I think, for what I need it for. Will it work the best? I'm sure I could improve it in some way, but let's be honest, this is an RV motor. It's not really gonna matter. But all right, so there's that front. Should have plenty of clearance there, and as long as this sits flat, we should be good. Yep, there's no rocking or anything that goes on. No side to side play. And I'm still gonna have a cork gasket in between this and the windage tray, so I should have a little bit more of a gap, even more then, so about a cork worth. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna go through, try to finally kind of clean up that weld a little bit, get it so it's actually more than just a few tacks. Try to actually make it look good, smooth it out. Who knows, maybe a little Craigslist rebuild on this thing with some, do I have gold paint? Probably not. And then, you know, call it good. Let's get it done. So as I'm lowering it down, I'm on this one enough to where at least it's catching. That one I'm still off on because it's twisted slightly, but I am getting contact right there. So I think I'm gonna have to notch that cross member. I'm gonna mess with it a little bit more, we'll see. Freshly painted pan just get decimated. Well, this is where I'm at right now. I was able to get the rear motor mount pretty close. That one's not fully in, it needs to go down slightly, but it gives me an idea of where this needs to sit. My old pan is still definitely scraping away, so I'm gonna have to modify that, and then this will have to angle down. I do have some clearance, but I'm gonna have to make a bunch of more clearance inside where that oil pan is. So, time to start cutting again.
Master weld?
I don't go that far. Yeah, it might not be flawless, but it'll work. Alright, so it's going to want to pop out.
Yeah. So start a nut on it?
Yep. Alright, So we're getting time to try to figure out the angles of what needs to sit. So, carbureted motor, the carburetor should be flat. All right. So the vehicle should be at ride height, which clearly isn't the case. However, this part of the frame I'm sitting on is parallel to the ground. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my angle finder, I'm going to set it on the frame, I'm going to zero it out. So that way it's ride height. Because it doesn't matter if there's an angle, because this is parallel. So we're good. Then we'll put this on the carburetor. So this currently is about 6 degrees angled back. And I believe that, because that's a pretty big lean. So what that tells me is I need to put a 6 degree more forward cant on this engine mount, and that should cancel out that 6 degrees up there. Now the hard part I'm dealing with this is that I have the stock bell housing, which is going to sit differently. All the bell housing's doing right now is telling me forward and back where that engine mount needs to be to maintain a stock forward and back configuration for the truck. But I don't know the angle. So what that's going to tell me is that this currently is sitting 6 degrees lower than it should. I'm not going to be running this bell housing, but I don't have the one I'm going to run. So what I can do is do a 6 degree angle down, which would want this motor to sit 6 degrees higher and cancel that out. So if I look at this here, I'm currently sitting at 11.2, give or take, so call it 11. So I need to bring that up 6 degrees. If it's sitting at roughly 5 degrees, I can do a tack on that, and that will be the angle I need to do. That's my thought. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but that's what I'm going to do. Because I am not a mechanic. I'm just figuring this out. I also have to figure out height up and down to make sure that it's level this way. But there's no way for me to do that, because everything on this motor is angled. Well, I can measure my motor mount off the top of the frame here, and it should sit, as long as I do the same measurement, it should sit fine. We'll try it. So the front of the mount, I was going to build an area kind of like to kind of contour that hole I have here, but it's really far and it's not exactly dead center. So as you can tell, it's more towards the back half. So the back half I've contoured to fit, but this front, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might have to just do like a smaller kind of a space there and then bring it up. I don't know yet. But I can figure that out later on, because it will hold right now with what I have. So yeah, looks pretty good. Time to hit this baby with the old spray paint rebuild coming in. No, actually, yeah, that's literally what's going to happen. I'm not diving into this motor. So it's going to look brand new from like a really far long ways away. Let's do this. I just want to point out, I used Chrysler Blue, alright? Chrysler Blue. Spared no expense. Used the good stuff. That's how you know it was a real rebuild, you know what I mean? Alright. What else can we get done? I don't know. Let's go figure it out. Alright, so we ended up getting rims and tires in, and I ended up going with American Racing, just like that's what's on the Charger, 17s, same that's on the Charger, and I went with Firestone Firehawks, mainly because I wanted a vintage style, or I guess like named tire. That way I can eventually do a decal and airbrush. And I just feel bad if I'm running like something that doesn't have any sort of pedigree of what I'm going to do with the truck, and then have like a Goodyear emblem on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. So yeah, I think they came out looking pretty good. This is obviously all the way down, so it sucked up a little bit. Maybe a little bit more meat on the back tire. I might be able to find one later on, but these will work for now. Yeah. This brake might stick a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, huh? A little good spinning, I think. Man, this thing drags a lot. Alright, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Just to recap, by what I remember that I need to edit into this one, got rims and tires added. We did the rear sump change and the oil pan change on the truck's 440. To bring that back for the clearance off that cross member. We got the motor mounts fabbed up, welded in, and installed. I'll probably do an extra reinforcement rib on there at some point, maybe not right now. And I got the motor in, which will allow us to now build everything off the back. So yeah, pretty successful. If you guys like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe for me. Little notification bell. Whatever sound that is, I don't know. And then, yeah, if you guys want to support the channel a little bit more as well, if you guys like the content I'm doing, you can always buy a shirt or a sticker or something of the sort. Any of the proceeds I get off of that, I turn around and put right back into these builds. That way I can continue doing dumb things like spending money on chargers and swept lines and a bunch of other stuff that I probably shouldn't be buying, like coronets and everything else. And you guys can, well, support me that way. But till then, until next time. Oh, next time, by the way, good transmission video coming up. I don't know if you can see it anywhere in here. It may or may not be in the picture, but I will break that down for you next time on the route we're going on the swept line. It's gonna be a good one. Stick around and keep building. All right.